Poco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. We're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online anytime to papajohns.com and check out all the pizza specials. Great for those game nights when you're watching football or baseball. Let's talk inbox, Barry. We've got emailed in questions here to answer on video. Let's get started with Dustin. He says, any chance the reason OU doesn't run Trevor Knight as much is because he fumbles the ball? Dropped it twice against TCU, but was fortunate enough to fall on it.
The fascination with Trevor Knight's running continues. OU fans have been wanting him to run all season. What's interesting to me is that he's really run extensively once this year. Sooners are 0-1. When he runs, they're unbeaten when he doesn't run. Now, I think he is going to have to run some, but no, I don't think it has anything to do with his fumbling. I think the Sooner coaching staff's just trying to protect him. Yeah. I don't think they want to run him unless they have to. It's just it's a depth situation. Don't have anybody behind him, and they want to keep Trevor Knight healthy. So I don't think the fumbling has anything to do with it, although it doesn't help.
Well, definitely not. And I think, the fact that he dropped it a couple times at TCU does not help. But it's more of a quarterback depth issue. And, I think people may start to think, hey, Cody Thomas, I bet he'd be okay. Listen, folks, remember a few years ago when some of you also said, I think Blake Bell needs to be playing over Landry Jones. Settle down. We don't know anything about Cody Thomas. Maybe he is going to be fantastic, but he's so inexperienced, and the OU coaches know that. They got to go with the guy that's experienced, and unfortunately, the depth of experience behind Trevor Knight just is not there. A lot of unknown factors. I think if they liked what they saw out of Cody Thomas or Justice Hansen right now more, I think they'd run Trevor Knight more. But I think there's still a fear of what if he gets hurt? What do you do now? And Baker Mayfield not getting eligible, I think that really, really handcuffs him. All right, let's go back to the inbox from Isaiah. He says, do you think OU learned this weekend against TCU just how young and inexperienced they are at the offensive skill positions? OU clearly is lacking another wide receiver threat opposite Sterling Shepard. It also seems obvious that the tight end position is lacking talent and production.
No, I don't think OU learned it Saturday. I think OU, the coaches, knew it. I think they knew it beforehand. The truth is, Sterling Shepard he's the only guy handling the ball that's a junior or a senior, running back, receiver, or a quarterback. So it is a young outfit. Now the running backs have been good, but the receiver, it's a very different set from what they've been used to. If you look back, Sooners have always had a very, very deep and talented core, and when it got thin, somebody dropped out of the sky. Justin Brown, Jalen Saunders. Yeah. Nobody dropped out of the sky this year. Now we know why they spent so much consternation trying to get Dorial Green-Beckham eligible immediately. They could really have used him. Didn't happen, so they're a little thin.
Yeah, and I think it's the pass catching that's most glaring. I mean, obviously Sterling Shepard seems to be the one hand they've got, but remember, Keith Ford's out with injury. He's a guy that can catch it out of the backfield, something that Alex Ross and Samaje Perine don't excel at. So if Keith Ford was healthy, I think that would have helped some to give Trevor Knight another outlet. And then even though the tight end position, I think OU likes what it's getting out of Blake Bell, he's so inexperienced, I'm not sure that they feel like they can throw it to him a bunch. So so they really are hamstrung. And I think you gotta lay a little blame at the feet of the development of these guys. They keep getting these, multi-star recruits at the wide receiver position, and they just aren't developing into guys that you would say, hey, they need to throw the ball to. Deron Neal's been around now 3 years, and we really haven't seen him elevate to another level. So thank goodness for Sterling Shepard in the OU camper. I don't know where they'd be right now. All right, back to the inbox from Brent. Brent says, my Cowboys need to improve in a hurry, or that 57-game streak of scoring at least 20 points is going to get reset weekly the last 6 games. I don't know how they're going to score in those road games, Barry. Obviously, OSU scored a lot of points over the last couple years. Can they keep it up?
Well, the Cowboys against Texas Tech and Iowa State got off to slow starts. Offense, seemed to be struggling. However, they did get better the longer the game went. And I think a hallmark of Mike Gundy's teams, as they've gotten better and better as the year goes on. I think that's happened repeatedly. I think there's reason to believe it will happen here, especially with a an inexperienced quarterback like Dax Garman. I don't know if the Cowboys can keep up that streak of reaching 20. I would be surprised if they didn't, though. I think even against the good defenses, Texas, Oklahoma, Baylor, whoever you want to put on the list, I think the Cowboys will get into the 20s for the foreseeable future. I think they may have some trouble winning those road games, but scoring in those road games, I actually think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, I do too. And I understand sort of the concern about, what's OSU going to do against better defenses. I get that. I've seen them a bunch in person, so I know where you're coming from. But I also think especially these games since Florida State, OSU really hasn't had to crack open the playbook too deep. I mean, let's be honest. The teams they've played to this point, while Iowa State is a nice program, it's not fantastic. And then the teams that preceded them, are definitely lower level teams. So OSU didn't have to really vary the offense, didn't have to show a ton. Is there reason for concern? Sure. I mean, they aren't running the ball like they need to, even when they're trying. They're not throwing it as well in the intermediate and short game as they need to. But I think if the mix starts to come back together, we saw it, in fits and starts in those games. And when they really mixed it, it was like, wow, this is really fantastic. But there's been a lot of times when they've really tried to hammer home parts of the game. And I think when they start to vary and use the whole playbook, I think that changes that offense a lot. When you're throwing deep a bunch and then suddenly you hand it off to a Tyreek Hill, it changes the equation a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that mix looks moving forward. All right, back to the inbox one last time from Justin. He says, I need your help. In the BCS days, it was easy to figure out what needed to happen for OU to get back in the race. Now I have no idea who to root for. Is it better that TCU loses twice, or if they win out, does it make an OU loss against them look better? Very obviously brand new world for college football fans.
Yeah, it is. It's a great question because the real answer is we don't really know. However, OU, as painful as it is to think about, you need Baylor to beat TCU.
Yeah.
Because of TCU has the capability. If they beat Baylor, they've got Oklahoma and Baylor in the rearview mirror, and they're unbeaten. TCU could run the table, and the Big 12's not getting two teams into the college football playoff. I promise you. The best case for OU, not the best case, but the best situation would be for Baylor to beat TCU, and then Oklahoma would have Baylor in front of it, and then if OU wins out, the worst the Sooners would be is a three-way tie. In which case Oklahoma would probably emerge as the pick of the committee in terms of who to rank higher among those three. So I would pick, if I'm a Sooner fan, I think you need Baylor to beat TCU.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt about it. And I think if you're an OU fan, you got to hope that not only are you going to run the table, that's a must, but then I think you have to hope TCU loses not once but twice. And losing to a Baylor team that OU then has to play, I think that would be good, because if Baylor beats TCU and then OU turns around and beats Baylor, I think that looks good for the committee. Clearly this is still kind of an early season to early mid-season loss. OU can recover from it, but I think the thing that I've been telling people when they ask, what do I need to know about OU and the college football playoff? They need help. Not a little bit, they need quite a bit of help. It's not like they can expect to get in if there are multiple one-loss teams in the SEC, let's say, or if there's an undefeated team or a couple good one-loss teams out of the Pac-12. They need some help. They can't just think we're going to win out and we'll be fine. I think they need quite a bit of help, and Baylor could definitely help them on Saturday. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.